This is I Like That Story, a Prairie Christmas episode number 2, The Christmas Sled. This Prairie Christmas episode of I Like That Story is brought to you by Evolution Consulting, nationwide consulting for style, speaking, and stage. There is an excellent winter Christmas tradition that a few lucky souls may be able to enjoy this winter if their parents will let them. Sledding on a steel runner sled. Samuel Leeds Allen was a Philadelphia Quaker, an inventor, an industrialist. His specialty was farm equipment. He had over 300 patents, from potato diggers to grass edgers, but all of these things he invented were used during the growing season, and so his workers would sit idle with no wages during the cold winter months. If only there were an invention that could be used in the winter time. It was then that this pious business owner turned to his real passion, sledding, or do you say sliding? At any rate, the hills of Pennsylvania were full of children and adults who would set out on a winter's day. The sleds of that day were mostly wood, and steering was done by dragging one foot or the other, or not at all. The less you steered, the faster you'd go. And Samuel Allen loved this sport, but if only there was a way to steer. And then he came up with an idea. He used thin, hardened steel runners rigidly attached to a wooden platform, and at the front of the sled a wooden bar was fixed crossways. The center pivoted on the platform, and by pulling on one side and by pushing up on the other, you could warp the runners and steer the sled without dragging your feet. He called it the flexible flyer. What a great idea. At first, sales were slow. Who would think of buying a toy from an ag company? But by offering the sled to department stores and by giving the sled to Admiral Byrd's expedition to the North Pole, the flexible flyer soon became a Christmas must-have. When I was a kid, a sled was one of the first presents you got for Christmas. I can still see mine with a ribbon on it from Santa. It was from Sears. I remember asking my mom how a sled from Santa came from Sears. She said, well, sometimes he subcontracts that stuff out to other toy makers during the busy season. Oh, I didn't know that. A few years back, I found it in my parents' garage and then rescued it to my own. It hangs above my workbench, rusty and forlorn, like it knows kids now don't use runner sleds anymore. I'd like to say you could buy one, but you can't. They stopped making the flexible flyer in 1999. But if you're a kid, or at least a kid at heart, and you have a good-sized hill we could use, come on over and borrow mine. And bring me along, too. The kid in me would still love to go one more time. Thank you for listening. This story comes out of my syndicated radio show, A Prairie Christmas, a holiday gift from all of us at I Like That Story. ILikeThatStory.net is where you can find out more about the places I speak, the books I write, the podcasts, blogs, CDs of some of your favorite Christmas stories, and more. Look us up on ILikeThatStory.net. And until next time, with music from Dan Schwartz, I'm Jeff Gould. Merry Christmas.